Hi, this video is the continuation of my previous video about Kraken 2.0 features. We have seen about HIR import and debugging simulation and comparing the requests in the previous video. Now we shall see how to deploy Kubernetes cluster in Kraken so that you can inject more load from multiple host machines.
If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.
So you need to have couple prerequisites before you get started. Make sure you have 30 to 45 minutes and you can watch this video continuously to get a hands-on about Kubernetes deployment. First you have to install Helm. Helm is the package manager for Kubernetes, and you should have the valid AWS account, which is free to create. You will get lots of resources for free up to 1 year based on the conditions terms from AWS. You can check it out while signing up, and you need to install AWS CLI command line interface and also the AWS EKS client in your Windows machine. Once these prerequisites are fulfilled, then you have to follow these steps. First is you need to configure the Helm, and second step is to creating the Kubernetes cluster, and we have to install the Kraken on the cluster. So once these three steps are done, you will be able to spin up the instances for Kraken, and then you'll be able to inject more load based on your needs. Now let's spin up the Kubernetes cluster in AWS. First, let us go to AWS management console. So here you can see I have already logged in, and my region is US East 2, which is closest to me, Ohio, and the services you will be utilizing is EKS, which will in turn spin up the EC2 using Cloud Formation, and you need to access IAM, etc. So we shall see one by one. So first thing is you need to make sure the Helm is installed. So all the relevant links I will post it in the description. You can check it out. Once the Helm is installed successfully in your machine, then you can start spinning up the Kubernetes cluster. So the very first step is you have to create a cluster using the command. So this command is available in the description. So this will start with EKS CTL and create cluster, and the name is Kraken test, and the version is 1.14. Here if you give the latest version 2.0 beta, it will not work. The only available latest version is 1.14, and the region is US East 2. You can customize based on your requirement, and you have to give the node name, standard workers, and the node type. So what type of machine you are going to spin up, the EC2 instance. So right now I am going to spin up T3 medium. The number of machines I am going to spin up is 3. So that is why the argument is minimum node is 3 and the maximum node is 3. So let us copy this and launch your command prompt. So here let me clear this, because before this video I practiced myself. So let me clear the screen and paste this and hit enter. So this will start creating a cluster based on the region, based on the number of nodes and the type, and then it will do a lot of steps in the backend. So typically it will take around 30 to 45 minutes for the whole thing to be completed, because I have already installed Helm, kind, and other dependencies. That is why you are not going to see those installations, but it is pretty easy to follow. Just Google it, you will be able to install all these dependencies. So now you can see the subnets for this for the regions US East 2A, 2B, 2C, and these are the public IP addresses, and it will create two separate Cloud Formation stacks, and then the logging you can see in the CloudWatch, and it is now building the cluster stack, and it's deploying the cluster stack here. So meanwhile we can go to AWS and we can check it out what's going on here. So we go to Cloud Formation, So before you creating a cluster, one more thing you need to remember is you need to have the right access for your user basically. So if you go to services in AWS, there is a service called IAM. Just type IAM. So it will help you to create users, groups, assign access stuffs like that. So here you have to create a user and you have to grant the admin privilege. So here if you go to your command prompt, the EKS CTL, that is the user in IAM, which has the admin privilege. So if it has admin privilege, you can access everything from the command line interface. So no need to log in into your AWS management console. So now let us go back to here. So here you can see if you go to users, there you'll be able to create a user based on your needs. So now let us go back to services and let us go to EKS. So EKS is a service where you can deploy Kubernetes on AWS cloud. So IAM, the region will be, there is no region for IAM, it will be global. But for the resources and all, you need to make sure you are in the right region. So once you click on EKS, you can see Kraken test and the version is 1.14. So that is the Kubernetes version, not the Kraken version. So don't get confused with the version here. And the status is creating. So if you want to go inside and see the cluster details, you can just click on the link. So it will take some time to spin up all the stuffs here. So here you can see the VPC, subnets, security group, and the CloudWatch logging area. So everything you can see it here. And also similarly, if you go to services and go to Cloud Formation, so this one is like a template. So based on the template, it will spin up the instance, assign it to the particular VPC, security groups, stuff like that. So here also you can see the EKS KTL Kraken test cluster is in progress. If you want to go inside the stack, you can see it. Just go inside by clicking on that, and then you can see the stack ID and then the events, what kind of resources, inputs, outputs, parameters. So everything you can see it here while creating is in progress. So let us wait for a couple more minutes. Once it is spinned up, we can proceed to the next step. Okay, now the cluster is ready as you see in the screen. Kraken test in US East 2 region is ready. Next we have to make sure the communication between the created cluster. So for that we need to get the nodes. So just send this command kubectl get nodes. So this will display the three nodes and the status and the version and how many minutes it's been up since then. And the next step, we need to access these clusters locally. So we have to install the Nginx ingress. So Nginx ingress will help you to allow the external users and applications to access the HTTP services. So we have to create that ingress by by sending the command called create namespace Nginx ingress. So this will create an ingress, and then we need to make sure the Helm is installed. So to create a Helm, you have to send this command Helm install namespace Nginx ingress and stable Nginx ingress and then the services. Okay, now the ingress has been created. So you have to validate this. To validate, you need to send this command. So this will display the Nginx controller, and this will give you the external IP, so which is the ELB IP. But if you just copy this and go to your browser and access, it will not give us anything. It will just display server unavailable. See, server not available. Similarly, if you try to access the Gatling or the administration link, it will not give you any site to display. But because we need to install the Helm chart. So to install the Helm chart, you need to follow these instructions. So first we have to create the namespace, okay, for the Octoperf, and then we need to install the Kraken using the Helm. So this will install Kraken. So let us wait for a couple more minutes. Okay, now it is, you can see the Gatling is installed, administration, and the backend REST API, storage, static analysis, runtime, everything is installed. Now if you go to your administration or Gatling, you can see the Gatling UI is getting loaded. Similarly, if you just copy this and paste it here and try to access the administration link, you can access the admin of Kraken. Okay, now let us go back to Gatling and let us see our nodes, whether it is displaying it or not. And double click on the basic simulation.scala, and then you can see the Scala file here. And let us try to run this Scala file, the simulation. Just click on run simulation, it will give one pop-up. So in that pop-up we can see the 3 nodes which have we just deployed. So here you can see the package, class, description, and the host. So right now we are seeing 1, 2, 3. So this is what we deployed in the cluster. And if you click on run, you will not be able to execute from these 3 hosts, because you need a valid license from Octoperf to run it from the multiple host, basically from the cluster. So you need to contact the sales team from Octoperf, and then you have to install it. Then you will be able to inject the load from multiple hosts. Without the proper licensing, you will not be able to execute. It will throw an error. So let us go back to admin link. Okay, here you can see the Grafana, the backend stuff, basically the results dashboard and all. And so now you are seeing, right, my system is a little slow. So if you try to execute, let us click on run button. So here you can see your license allows only to run from one host. So basically we cannot run from the multiple machines. So if you go to admin link, you can see the Gatling, Grafana, Telegraph, and other stuffs from here. Similarly, the host machines. Okay, so to delete, once everything is done, right, because everything is money, per hour basis you will be paying money to your AWS account. So make sure you delete the resources before you go to the next work or next task. So to delete the cluster, you have to send this command. So go to your command prompt and just send this command to delete. So delete, so ES East 2, that is my region. So delete cluster. So this will delete everything, the resources and the cluster, VPC, everything, and make sure it is deleted properly. Sometimes you may need to check manually whether everything is deleted properly, otherwise your AWS account will get charged. So don't try to access this, because I'm going to delete everything. You will not be able to access these URL. So let me delete this. Anyway, this command will delete it, but make sure wait for it, and something error comes up, then you can delete it manually. So please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. So this will very helpful if you want to inject more load, and if you're primarily using Gatling tool, and definitely you can try Kraken. It's daily, it's evolving. I've been following the GitHub repository quite long, so they're pretty active and it will be very useful if you want to utilize the AWS or GCP Kubernetes stuff for your multiple load injectors. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.